Part 1. Outline my initial assessment of myself as a leader and describe what type of leader I currently see myself as. Let me begin with an introduction. The assigned readings have sparked a profound reevaluation of my leadership style. Despite my experience leading teams and belief in my empathetic approach and certainly effective work prioritization, the course material has illuminated new perspectives and strategies that I am eager to incorporate into my leadership and management approach. In Dr. Gregg's week 1 presentation, she emphasized the idea of starting with the why. When evaluating my leadership style, which I'll discuss shortly, it's essential to consider the derivation of categorizing leadership styles. That understanding the context of researching leadership theory will make me more aware of leadership and management choices and how those selections impact others' feelings of empowerment and satisfaction and collaboration. Part 2. Leadership theories inform leadership style. In Lewin's original research in 1944 titled A Research Approach to Leadership Problems, Lewin conducted social experiments to identify and understand various leadership styles. It's worth noting that the assessment of leadership styles occurred during World War II, a period marked by significant interest in leadership, encompassing military training and research involving world leaders like Churchill and Roosevelt and Hitler. Lewin's research conducted during World War II has been adapted to represent contemporary leadership styles, despite the unique historical context. Lewin conducted social experiments on children's assigned tasks, with participants taking on one of 3 leadership styles to observe the benefits and drawbacks of each technique. Lewin identified 3 leadership styles, but has since adapted to 4 styles. The 4 leadership styles are autocratic, democratic, laissez-faire, and transformational. Reflecting on my leadership style and Lewin's categories, I believe it's most effective not to adopt a single style, but to become proficient in applying each style based on the unique situation. Part 3. Example of applying a leadership style. For instance, a new employee with limited experience might initially benefit from autocratic and directive leadership. As the employee gains more experience, autocratic leadership can transition into a more hands-off, laissez-faire approach. See, a laissez-faire approach does not provide structure and can challenge the associate. However, in specific circumstances, it also allows associates to problem solve and devise an understanding of structure. Laissez-faire is a method that enables an employee to build independence, which can mature into confidence, but also carries the risk of chaos. Subsequently, as the associate becomes more knowledgeable and feels comfortable expressing opinions, applying a democratic leadership style can allow associates to showcase creativity and feel empowered. When an associate comprehends the process, autocratic, can work independently, laissez-faire, and has the confidence to provide informed insights, democratic, I believe the associate would then have the foundation to start building a vision that is characteristic of a transformational leader. Part 4, leadership assessment, feedback, and becoming self-aware of peer reviews. In Module 1, I completed 2 online assessment tools, the Myers-Briggs Personality Assessment and the Emotional Intelligence EI test. I will concentrate my narrative on the Myers-Briggs Personality Assessment. The Emotional Intelligence Assessment, EIA, took a lot of work to decipher. The challenge of EIA was the presentation format and fragmentation of information needed to perform the analysis. The EI quadrant descriptors were vague, using a format that was narrative descriptions. The ranking required a more precise articulation of analysis based on the assessment questions. So I completed the Myers-Briggs Personality Assessment on Truity.com. After reviewing the results, I invested in a detailed analysis that really provided valuable insight into my personality type. The analysis feedback was accurate, so I will now reflect on the results of my category styles. The first one is the energy style. This dimension describes how I manage my energy. I am split almost evenly between introversion and extroversion. The assessment indicated that I blend introversion and extroversion with a tendency towards extroversion. My energy style is energetic and communicative and large. I agree with the findings, but I'm also aware that in certain circumstances, I will become introverted if I don't agree or align with the situation. Historically, actually, I would become combative, but I have become much more self-aware of my outward appearance and managing emotional reactions. Next is my cognition style. This dimension describes how I process information. Intuition. This is in contrast with sensing. The assessment indicated I am idealistic, imaginative, forward-thinking, and visionary. Nevertheless, I also possess strong qualities in sensing. In my current role, I am confident in designing data and information interoperability based on abstract concepts and understanding data and workflow. While this assessment highlights certain tendencies, I do also strive to ensure that my peers and leaders perceive me as grounded and factual. Next is value style, feeling in contrast with thinking. This dimension describes my orientation to personal values. My values are ethical, compassionate, sympathetic, and humanitarian. I agree with this perspective. My annual performance reviews at work often describe me as passionate and focused on the customer. However, to continue to ascend in my career, I also need to improve my perception as a logical leader. Lifestyle, judging, and this is in contrast with perceiving. This dimension describes how I organize my life. My lifestyle qualities describe me as organized, authoritative, dedicated, and ambitious. 2 assessment areas described in my evaluation are making objective decisions and managing emotions. These qualities can help me make significant advancements in my work, but can also lead to conflicts with people I work with. So let me summarize Myers-Briggs, the assessment I took. The Myers-Briggs assessment provided an evidence-based evaluation of my performance. I was surprised yet impressed that the potential pitfalls it highlighted aligned with the historical professional feedback I received in my employer's annual performance assessment. Based on the evaluation results, I realized I did not experience a defensive emotion, which I normally would in my work, because the source of the evaluation was data-driven. See, in my current organization, I would receive anonymous feedback as snippets of information during a review without context from the people I work with. Two examples of potential pitfalls identified by the Myers-Briggs assessment are, first, negative emotions affect me intensely because of my significant level of empathy. Therefore, I should avoid highly conflictual and competitive environments. Second, I commit to too many different projects. This was obvious, but I overlooked the concept that my tendency to overcommit occurs because of my desire to help others. My willingness to help others increases the risk of burnout and trying to support too much. Therefore, I should say no when necessary. These examples align with constructive feedback I have previously received from my work performance evaluations. Part 5, Peeling Back the Onion, based on George and Clayton's textbook from Chapter 4. So I'll provide two examples of personal exploration related to peeling back the onion that impact my leadership. My investigation occurred before I read George and Clayton's texts. See, my family and medical team supported me how I've had the sobriety, and I began to enjoy understanding my mind and learning for knowledge through recovery. I studied several books authored by experts in addiction and philosophy, psychology, neurology, and spiritual figures. Most of the references from Chapter 4 are concepts I've already explored and actually continue to practice. So my first example is meditation. I actually have previously read Jon Kabat-Zinn's work and was familiar with his description of meditation. When considered, meditation can evoke several ideas of the activity. For example, it may be a perception of Eastern philosophy. Meditation can be associated with physical movements, such as yoga. Meditation may also be related to techniques that support habitual mental health practices. I discovered the power of meditation by reading a book by Jon Kabat-Zinn. Kabat-Zinn explains the intention and irony of letting your mind go blank. See, when a person attempts to not think of something to calm their feelings, it can be very stressful. It's so difficult because when you try not to think of something, an idea, a worry, a thought always appears in your mind. Thus, someone who wants to calm their mind, reduce their anxiety, and lower stress can feel a sense of failure by trying not to think. The irony is that meditation doesn't teach a person how to avoid thinking, but how to acknowledge thoughts without judgment, regardless of what they are, and then attempt to return to the practice of meditation. This process of acknowledgement without judgment is repeated throughout meditation. Meditation helps us learn how to manage the part of our brain that creates these emotions. Over time, the impact of meditation is that our ability to be aware of our feelings and manage negative thoughts becomes more manageable. In True North and other neuroscience research using meditation to learn how to process our feelings without judgment is expressed as rewiring your brain. So, a second example, negative self-talk. In the context of meditation, I've realized that engaging in negative self-talk can significantly influence how a person manages their emotions. See, learning to eliminate negative self-talk is connected to learning to be non-judgmental. If a person cannot speak kindly to themselves, it becomes challenging to extend kindness to others. Part 6, Self-Assessment Summary. Let me begin by discussing my leadership strengths. Inspiring with vision, seeing potential in people, mentoring and developing others, and organizing diverse talent. Areas of opportunity. Because I am so empathetic, negative emotions affect me profoundly. Therefore, my assessment recommended avoiding highly conflictual or competitive environments. I often see the potential in people, even when they do not. So I should be aware of my tendency to idealize others. I may become hurt when they don't live up to expectations. I should avoid getting stuck in the mundane routines of life. I function best when acting on inspiration. Too many tedious, meaningless tasks will drain my energy. Watch out for a tendency to commit myself to too many different projects. My eagerness to help can cause burnout, trying to do it all. So I need to learn to say no when I must. Part 7. Share a theory or model that reflects my preferred leadership style. Reflecting on my leadership style, the anecdote from my 1.6 discussion post about my experience mentoring Vanessa, I exhibited all 4 leadership styles while mentoring her. See, initially my guidance required a very hands-on and directed approach to onboard her to learn the data transformation technology. And as Vanessa understood the techniques for transforming data, she needed to attempt data transformations independently, working through how to plan, troubleshoot, and execute. See, this hands-off approach encouraged her to work independently by following a laissez-faire leadership approach. Vanessa and I started to collaborate then democratically on projects, and together we designed a roadmap to provide a transformative strategy to bring medical device products to market faster within BD. Researching leadership theory, I have realized that understanding and applying all styles is necessary for effective leadership. The situation should dictate how to use a leadership style to achieve desired outcomes. In their work, Dr. Paul Hersey and Kenneth Blanchard emphasize that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to leadership. They argue that the most effective leadership style depends on the specific circumstances, and a good leader will consider the variables at play before choosing their leadership style. Part 8, habits to be an effective leader. 2 habits necessary to be an effective leader are expressing gratitude and displaying vulnerability. First, associates who receive authentic gratitude will feel appreciated by leadership and be more engaged in their work. This increased engagement often translates into improved skills, greater productivity, and a willingness to enhance their abilities further. My example in Module 1.6 illustrated this, with Vanessa becoming adept at performing data transformations and receiving recognition through a promotion. The second is displaying vulnerability. Leaders who are vulnerable and willing to acknowledge limitations and discuss mistakes create a culture of continuous learning. See, admitting mistakes and sharing what you have learned, understanding the why, demonstrates that a person should aspire towards knowledge without fear, not an outward perception of perfection. Leaders play a crucial role in inspiring team members to adopt a growth mindset. By being open about their own learning and growth, they can create a culture of continuous learning, leading to both personal and professional development within the team. Part 9, methods to influence and engage team members. Conduct a workshop centered on a sample project for which the team is responsible. This workshop should include specific prompts to encourage the team to focus on cultural aspirations, such as gratitude and vulnerability. The goal is to model desired cultural behaviors in a transparent and collaborative setting. During the workshop, incorporate activities where the team members can express appreciation for each other's contributions and openly discuss their challenges. Provide opportunities for individuals to share personal experiences that highlight the importance of these cultural values. Facilitate group discussions to reflect on how the ideal behaviors are integrated into daily work practices to strengthen the team dynamic. Part 10, 2 principles of visionary leadership. Strategically leading change as a visionary leader, I will follow 2 fundamental principles of leadership: inspiring a shared vision and empowering others to act. According to Kouzes and Posner in 2017, a shared vision aligns the team around common goals and aspirations, creating a sense of purpose and direction. Using a shared vision that includes ideas and quantitative metrics empowers groups to identify how to execute work according to the quantified vision. BD applies a shared vision by defining key driver goals annually. Communicating a compelling future vision motivates associates to embrace change at work collaboratively towards achieving the desired outcomes. See, the first principle fosters unity and ensures everybody moves in the same direction. The second principle is empowering team members, which involve delegating authority, providing resources, and removing obstacles to enable individuals to take ownership of their roles and contribute meaningfully to the change process. This principle is crucial because it builds trust, enhances engagement, and leverages the diverse skills and perspectives within the team. An example of this at BD is a program we use to simplify the decision-making process called the BD Way of Decision Making. Teams involved in decisions identify a final arbiter, subject matter experts, and those who offer opinions. When team members feel empowered, they're more likely to be proactive, innovative, and committing to driving change. By adhering to these principles, I aim to create an environment where the vision is clear and compelling, and team members feel valued and empowered to contribute and make decisions towards a shared vision.